Buckle your seatbelt. It's time for another episode of the Prepper Recon podcast. Whether your plan is to bug out or bug in, CampingSurvival.com has all of your preparedness needs, including fish antibiotics, long-term storage food, and water filters. Use coupon code PREPPERRECON for 5% off your order at CampingSurvival.com.
Get prepared before disaster strikes. PrepperRecon.com offers MOLLE-compatible individual first aid kits for your home, auto, or bug-out bag. These kits have everything you need to address a traumatic injury, including an Israeli battle dressing, quick clot, EMT shears, suture kit, steri strips, tourniquet, tough strip bandages, and so much more. $99 includes shipping. Go to PrepperRecon.com and click the Store tab at the top of the home page. Order today before it's too late.
Hey Preppers and Patriots, today I wanted to have a little fireside family chat between you and me. I want to talk about hurricane preparedness and prepper maintenance. If you've got family or friends who want to start prepping but just don't know where to start, it's a really good show to share with them because it's going to cover all of the basics, and you can just shoot them an email with the link and they can listen to it, and hopefully it'll help them get up to speed. So we're well into hurricane season now, and for the folks on the East Coast, the Gulf Coast, this is a great time to assess your preps. Even if you're not on the coast, this is the perfect time of year to do some prepper maintenance. For new preppers, they should use this time to put together the basics they'll need to get through a severe hurricane. If you're prepared for a really bad hurricane, you're in pretty good shape to get through other short-term disasters. Everybody starts at zero. If you're just starting out or trying to get ready for hurricane season, your number one priority should be water. I don't recommend buying individual bottles of water. That's the least cost-effective way you can store water. You'd be much better off buying 1-gallon jugs of distilled water. The dollar store even sells gallon jugs, and they're usually the thicker plastic. So I think that's a really, really good solution if you just need to go out and buy some water to get stocked up and get ready for hurricane season. Better yet, you can recycle old 2-liter soda bottles, or you can rinse out juice bottles like cranberry juice bottles. Those are typically made out of the thicker plastic. You don't want to use milk jugs because they're really thin, and when stored for a long time, they're typically either going to leak or they're going to bust, and it's going to get water all over the area where you're storing them. If it's in the garage or an outside storage shed, that's not going to be so catastrophic, but if it's on your wood floor or in a particle board cabinet, it's really going to make a mess and cause you a lot of pain. Now, if you filter your water with like a Brita or a Pure filter, one of those pitcher filters, don't filter the water before you store it. Wait till you need the water for drinking, then pour it through your filter. You might not ever end up using the water, and you'll want to change the water every year or so. So it'd be a waste to filter it and then store it and then have to pour it out a year later when you do your prepper maintenance and you refill it with fresh water. And I recommend getting a good portable water filter, like a hand pump filter. Katadyn and MSR, they both make a really good hand pump filter, and they're fairly reasonably priced. They have units that are under $100. If you get the more expensive models that are over $100, they're going to have more capacity as to how much water they'll purify. But you can read all the stats on that, and one of the under $100 models should be sufficient for what you need it for. And keep a couple of gallons of bleach on hand. It's not going to taste great if you have to purify your water with bleach, but you can purify water with 8 drops of bleach per gallon if the water is clear. And if it's cloudy water, you'd use 16 drops of bleach per gallon, and it's going to make it safe to drink. Like I said, it's not going to taste great, but it will be drinkable. And if you let it sit out after you've put the bleach in it for a few hours, a lot of that bleach is going to dissipate, and over the course of 24 hours, it's going to dissipate even more. So that's something else you can do, is if you do have to use that method to purify your water, do it ahead of time so that some of the bleach has time to evaporate afterwards. And you can purify water by boiling it. As soon as you bring water up to a boil, it's pretty much killed all of the pathogens in it. So if you boil it for a minute, you're definitely in the clear, just to be safe. But the second it hits boiling point, it's killed all the pathogens in there, so you're safe. But in a disaster scenario, the fuel you're going to be using to purify your water it could be in very short supply. And it might be that you need it for cooking or for other uses. So that's not the best method. It's better to have your water stored already so that you don't have to do that. But if you do, it is an option. A couple weeks ago, we woke up and we had no water at all. We're on a well and our pump had burned out. The problem was really easy to fix, but it was much less of an inconvenience. Because one of the first things we did when we moved in our house was to put a backup hand pump, a pitcher pump, on our system. Since I had that, I was still able to draw water so we could flush the toilet and wash our hands and all of that. We keep about 50 gallons stored in the garage, so just as a backup. So it'd be a little while before I had to start drinking the unfiltered well water, which does have a little bit of a sulfur taste, but it's safe for drinking. So that pump with the installation, it cost me about $150, and I have to tell you, it's the best money I ever spent. We got the little pitcher pump. We ordered that online from Home Depot. I think it was around $40. I bought the wood for the platform and a couple of bags of Saccrete, and then I paid the local water company to come in, put an extra check valve on there, and tie it into my existing wellhead. Really, really well spent money, I'll have to say. And I did make a video of that system that I have. So you can go to Prepper Recon, you can just go to YouTube and you can search Prepper Recon backup pitcher pump, and it's going to come right up. You'll see it. It's a red pitcher pump, and you'll see the configuration of how it has the extra check valve, so that the pitcher pump operates independently from the pump for the house, the electric pump for the house. So check that out if that's something you're interested in doing. For food, you should set a minimum goal of 1 month's worth of food. And I'm going to do another entire show on food storage because it's just such a big topic, and there's so many different aspects to that, of the different types of food and the different ways to store it and everything. But for now, for the folks that are just starting out, set a goal of just getting a month's worth of food, buying stuff that isn't going to take a lot of preparation and stuff that isn't going to require refrigeration for storage. So canned goods are a really good option for that. They can be eaten straight out of the can. Anything in a can, you can pop the top and just start eating it. Soups. Obviously, the condensed soups you're going to have to mix with water. If you get non-condensed soups, then you'd be able to eat those straight out of the can. Canned tuna, canned chicken, beef stew, canned pasta like SpaghettiOs, peanut butter and crackers, dried fruit, nuts, cookies. Anything that you can eat without having to cook is going to be a great thing for that first month of food storage. Of course, from there, we're going to keep building that. But most hurricanes, you should be able to make it through with 1 month's worth of food. And like I said, try to stick to stuff that you're not going to have to cook. Because unless you've made preparations to be able to do so, you're probably not going to be able to cook until you get power back on. If you've got a generator, you might be able to run a hot plate or a low wattage microwave. If you've got a little camping stove and some propane, you can use that. I recommend a solar oven, but that's going to run you about $300. And if you're just getting started out with prepping, it might be a lot to come up with on top of everything else that you're trying to get for your hurricane supplies. So get your month's worth of food together first, and then we can focus on all of that stuff later. You're going to want a good first aid kit for hurricane preparedness. You're typically going to be doing things that you wouldn't be doing, operating chainsaws, clearing debris, all of that. There's a lot of broken glass and uprooted trees and limbs and things like that can cause deep lacerations or cuts in hurricanes and other disasters. I recommend having something a little bit more complete than what you're going to find from the corner drugstore. You should have a compression bandage, blood clotting agent, tourniquet, and a few other advanced items. I sell a really well stocked complete first aid kit at Preparecon.com. You just go to Preparecon and click the store tab at the top of the home page, and you'll be able to see all the items that I have in my kit. And even if you don't want to buy it from me, get it from somewhere. Even if you want to just use that as a template to put all that stuff together yourself, you may be able to price it out. It's probably going to end up costing you more than what I sell it for, because I get most of that stuff in bulk, and that's the reason I'm able to sell it at the price that I offer it for on the site. But check that out, and wherever you get it, do get yourself a really good, well-equipped first aid kit. And you're going to need a plan for hygiene. If your water goes out, you might not be able to flush your toilet. If you've got a private location on your property where you can dig a hole that's at least 30 meters away from your water source, that's an option. But if you're in an apartment, you may have to use a bucket with heavy-duty trash liners. So make sure you're stocked up on trash bags, heavy-duty ones. Obviously, you're going to want a flashlight and a battery-operated radio. I recommend switching to rechargeable batteries. My favorites are Panasonic Eneloop batteries with a smart charger. All of those are available on Amazon as well. And for seasoned preppers out there, you may be really well stocked up with food. Maybe you've got a year's worth of food and 100 gallons of water and generators and solar ovens and all of that kind of thing. And you just, all of this stuff is really basic for you. For you guys, hurricane seasons are a great time for prepper maintenance. Check your batteries, make sure that they're all still, in good working order. If you've got rechargeables, maybe top them off. Check expiration dates on all of your food, on the things that are in your bug out bag. Of course, canned goods are always going to be good, even past their expiration date. They will start to lose some of the flavor, maybe some of the nutritional value, but they'll never go toxic. You'll never not be able to eat something that's canned. So keep that in mind when you're going through your expiration dates. And check the water in your long-term storage for water. If it's been more than a year, maybe it's a good idea to pour it out and refill it from the sink or wherever you fill your long-term storage water. Your gas that you bought last hurricane season, pour all of that in your truck or your car, and get fresh cans of gas. For gas, I recommend either Sta-Bil or Seafoam as an additive to keep it fresh. And Seafoam's great too because it's got a little bit of a cleaning agent for your lawnmower or chainsaw or whatever you happen to use that on. So that's good stuff. It's a little bit more expensive than the Sta-Bil, I think, if you're going to use it for a preservative to keep the fuel fresh. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. The dollar's lost over 90% of its purchasing power since 1971. Silver, on the other hand, has proven to be a very stable form of wealth preservation over the years. And where do you buy silver? Silver.com, of course. Silver.com offers fantastic prices on gold and silver. Check out Silver.com today. Ready Made Resources is a trusted name in the prepper community because they've been around for 18 years. They offer great prices on night vision, water filtration, long-term storage food, solar energy components, and provide free technical service. Get ready for an uncertain future at ReadyMadeResources.com. And if you keep loaded magazines and you're worried about them taking a set, this might be a good time of year to empty those out and rotate the bullets into an unloaded magazine. Supposedly Glock and Magpul mags won't take a set, but maybe you're better safe than sorry. And test out your preps. Let's say you bought a solar generator from the guy on TV that told you it'd power your entire house, and your TV and your freezer and your microwave and everything. I would recommend getting that solar generator out, charge it up, and see what it'll actually run right now when you don't need it, because it's the consequences are so much smaller now to find that stuff out. So everything that you've got that are preps that you're planning on using for the hurricane or when the stuff hits the fan, get it all out, take it out of the box, put the batteries in it. If it's a solar oven, get it out and cook with it. If it's a generator, fire it up. Make sure everything's working the way that it's supposed to. And generators, that's another topic. A lot of folks start looking at generators for hurricane season, and those are great, but most of us already have 3/4 of the components for a generator. Basically, a generator is a gas motor, a fuel storage tank, an alternator to convert the energy from the motor into electricity, and an inverter to make the electricity usable for household devices. Now, my car has all of those things except the inverter, right? I've got the motor, I've got the storage tank, I've got the alternator. I just don't have the inverter. So all I really need is an inverter with alligator clips that I can hook up to my battery. Now, I will caution folks to only connect an inverter to your battery when the car is running. Otherwise, if you're trying to run an appliance off of that inverter from your battery in your car and it's not running, it's going to drain your battery in a matter of minutes, and you're going to end up without a car or a generator. So make sure that the engine's running when you're running the inverter to power whatever it is. And keep your car's tank full. It's the safest place you can possibly have to store gas, and you don't have to rotate it because it's self-rotating because it's your vehicle, right? For other uses though, like chainsaws and other things that you might need for maybe you do have a small generator. Gas cans are much more accessible, and like I said, a little stable or seafoam are great additives to keep those from going stale. So let's go back over the basics of what we're going to need for hurricane preparedness. Water. You need a water filter, some canned food, soups, vegetables, canned pasta, things like that. At least a month's worth. Crackers, peanut butter, things like that. Cookies. You're going to need a manual can opener if a large portion of your food is canned food, because your electric can opener is not going to work without the power. And maybe since it's such an important item, maybe get 2 of them in case one of them breaks, or in case you need to lend one to a neighbor. Flashlight, rechargeable batteries. You're going to need some form of self-defense, because when the power's down for long periods of time, sometimes the natives get a little restless, and a baseball bat isn't as good as a shotgun, but it's better than a spork. Make sure you've got plenty of toilet paper, trash bags, bath wipes, paper towels, paper plates. Good trauma kit. We talked about the different types of injuries that you can get in a disaster. They tend to be much worse because you're operating equipment like chainsaws that you're not used to using, and you're doing things that are more strenuous, and clearing debris, and maybe putting tarps on roofs, and things that you're just not used to doing that are inherently more risky. And it is more strenuous work doing all that stuff. So make sure that you're getting in shape now too. Start getting some cardiovascular exercise in 3 to 5 days a week, and start getting your heart rate up for 20 minutes during those exercise times. One of the biggest things we see every year in snowstorms is people clearing snow and having heart attacks because they're just not used to that strenuous activity. So you got to keep your body in shape and make sure that that's part of your hurricane preparedness and disaster preparedness in general. And you'll just feel better and have a higher quality of life if you're in a little bit better shape anyway. A flash drive. Get a flash drive and keep all of your essential documents on there. Wedding pictures, insurance policies, all of that kind of thing, that if you do have to evacuate, you can just grab that flash drive. It's somewhere maybe already on your keychain, and you can just walk out the door with it. keep some cash around. I recommend having at least $1,000 and a few small bills for places that are only going to be taking exact change. We were in South Florida for Hurricane Wilma, and there were several little bodegas that were open that you could go in, and if you had cash and you had exact change, you could go in there and you could purchase a few items. But the big stores, nobody was taking credit cards, and most of the big stores were closed. And never let your tank fall below 3/4 of a tank. Especially when you're getting closer to hurricane season. And if you say 3/4, then it's going to end up being half, but you'll already have that feeling of, I let it slip this far. I've went too long and I need to get it topped off. So just set 3/4 at your goal. And, if you slip from time to time and it gets down to half, it's not such a big deal, but just let that be your goal. Bug out bags. If you have to evacuate, you want to already have a bag packed. You can search the Prepper Recon podcast archives, and I've done several shows on bug out bags, and I've had different guests on talking about the different things that they recommend for putting in a bug out bag. But it's something to have that you can just grab and go if you do have to evacuate. Maps and evacuation routes. If you need to leave, evacuate early so you're not stuck in gridlock, and make a reservation before you leave the house, somewhere that's outside of the threat zone, so that you don't end up getting stuck in some flea-ridden Red Roof Inn. Or worse, you end up with no options at all, because when people evacuate, they fill up the hotels and there's just nothing left. And if you're living on a budget and you've set aside a budget for building an emergency fund, when these types of things pop up and you have to leave and you have to get a hotel and you have to spend money on gas and eating out and things like that, the things that are associated with evacuating, it's not such a big deal because you've already budgeted for that. And the main idea is to make a plan that's easy to implement when the hurricane or the disaster comes and you do have to evacuate. And for those of you that are new to all of this, I wrote the 7-step survival plan with David Kobler, and we cover all the basics of prepping, and it's available for free. Just go to prepperrecon.com and click the 7-step survival plan PDF banner just below the menu bar. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that you'll put this information to good use. God bless and happy prepping.
In 7 Cows, Ugly and Gaunt, Book 1, Behold Darkness and Sorrow, Daniel Walker begins having prophetic dreams about the judgment coming upon America for rejecting God's word. Through one of his dreams, Daniel learns of an imminent threat of an electromagnetic pulse attack, sending the country into a technological dark age. If they want to live, Daniel and his friends must focus on faith, wits, and preparation to be ready before the lights go out. Buy your copy of 7 Cows, Ugly and Gaunt, Book 1, Behold Darkness and Sorrow, by best-selling author Mark Goodwin, in paperback, Kindle, or audio edition from Amazon.com today.